Stop scrolling for just 1 second, because what I'm about to tell you is something most people will never hear. Not from their parents, not from their teachers, not from anyone. And here's the uncomfortable truth, the most intellectually gifted people you've ever admired, the ones who seem to think on a completely different level. They're not smarter because of their grades, their degrees, or how fast they talk. They're different because of what they do when nobody is watching, when they're completely alone. And the fascinating part, most of them don't even realize they're doing it. So if you've ever felt like your mind works differently, like you notice things others miss, like you get bored too easily, or like conversations sometimes feel shallow, keep watching, because this might finally explain why. There's a concept in psychology called solitude processing, and researchers have found that individuals with higher cognitive complexity don't just enjoy being alone, they need it, not because they're antisocial, but because their brain is constantly running in the background, making connections, building frameworks, questioning assumptions. And being around other people constantly actually interrupts that process. This is why rare intelligence and deep solitude are almost always found together. Now, let's get into the 6 things. The first thing people with rare intelligence almost always do alone is think in questions, not answers. Most people spend their alone time looking for reassurance, scrolling, consuming, filling silence. But someone with a genuinely sharp mind uses solitude to ask. They sit with discomfort. They ask things like, why do I actually believe this? Or, what would have to be true for the opposite to be right? This habit, called dialectical thinking in psychology, is the foundation of intellectual depth. It's not comfortable. It's not entertaining, but it reshapes the way you understand reality slowly and permanently. And it always happens alone, in the quiet, when there's no one to perform for. The second thing is reading, but not the way most people read. People with rare intelligence read slowly and argumentatively. They pause, they push back. They write in margins. They don't read to finish a book. They read to have a conversation with an idea. Psychologist Millie Csikszentmihalyi, who spent decades studying highly creative and intelligent individuals, found that almost all of them had one thing in common. They consumed information in a way that actively transformed them. They weren't passive. Reading, for them, was a contact sport. And this kind of deep, slow, argumentative reading, it almost never happens in a group. It's a solo act. The third behavior is what researchers call mental simulation, and it's one of the most underrated signs of an exceptional mind. When a highly intelligent person is alone, they run scenarios in their head. They rehearse conversations, imagine outcomes, stress test decisions before making them. This isn't daydreaming in the casual sense. This is deliberate mental modeling. The same cognitive skill used by elite chess players, military strategists, and the world's best negotiators. They're not just thinking about what is, they're constructing what could be, then figuring out what that means. And this kind of simulation requires the kind of uninterrupted quiet that only solitude can give you. The fourth thing, and this one surprises people, is sitting with unresolved emotions instead of reacting to them. Most people, when they feel something uncomfortable, move immediately to distraction. Rare intelligence looks different. These individuals sit with the feeling. They get curious about it. Where is this coming from? What is this feeling trying to tell me? This is called emotional metacognition, thinking about your own emotional experience, and studies in effective neuroscience consistently link it to higher emotional intelligence, better decision-making, and deeper empathy. It sounds simple, but it's one of the hardest things a person can do. And it almost always happens in silence, when there's no outside noise to hide behind. The fifth thing is observing patterns that don't fit. Intelligent people in solitude are always noticing anomalies, things that seem off, contradictions in what they've been told, behaviors in others that don't match the stated reason. This is what psychologists call incongruity detection, and it's deeply linked to creative intelligence and critical thinking. Einstein once said that the most important thing is not to stop questioning, and that habitual, almost obsessive search for inconsistency, for the thing that doesn't quite add up, is something that happens quietly in the background. while the rest of the world moves on without questioning anything. It's not a party trick, it's a private, ongoing process that never really switches off. And the sixth thing, perhaps the most personal, is choosing, consciously, not to explain themselves. People with rare intelligence often go through a specific shift. Early in life, they try to share every insight, every realization, every complex thought they've had. And they're met with blank stares, dismissal, or discomfort. Over time, they learn something important. Not every thought needs an audience. Some ideas are for you. Some realizations are seeds that need silence to grow before they're exposed to scrutiny. This isn't arrogance, it's discernment, and psychologically. This selective silence is actually a marker of maturity, the ability to hold something valuable within yourself, to develop it privately, without needing external validation to make it real. Here's what all 6 of these behaviors have in common. They require you to be alone with yourself without flinching. And that is genuinely rare. We live in a world that is terrified of silence. Every moment of stillness gets filled with noise, with content, with the constant ping of someone else's thoughts. But the human mind, at its most powerful, needs quiet to do its deepest work. The people who have shaped history, created breakthroughs, and lived with a kind of inner freedom that most people never taste. They understood something the crowd doesn't. That solitude isn't loneliness. It's where the real thinking happens. It's where you meet yourself. And it's where rare intelligence is built, one quiet moment at a time. If any of this resonated with you, if you recognized yourself in even 2 or 3 of these, I want you to sit with that for a moment, because it means your mind is doing something most people's minds never do. And the question worth asking now is, are you giving it the space it needs?